I'm not sure if he's arrived. Okay, Ali, ready.
محمد وآل محمد صلوات
اللهم
اللهم
صل على
صل على
محمد وعلى
محمد وآل محمد. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. من جابر بن عبد الله الأنصاري عن فاطمة الزهراء عليه السلام بنت رسول الله صلى الله عليه وآله قال سمعت فاطمة أنها قالت دخل علي أبي رسول الله في بعض الأيام فقال السلام عليك يا فاطمة فقلت عليك السلام قال إني أجد في بدني ضعفا فقلت له أعيذك بالله يا أبتاه من الضعف فقال يا فاطمة ائتيني بالكساء اليماني فغتيني به فأتيته بالكساء اليماني فغتيته به وصرت أنظر إليه وإذا وجهه يتلألأ كأنه البدر في ليلة تمامه وكماله. اللهم صل على محمد. فما كانت إلا ساعة وإذا بولد الحسن قد أقبل وقال السلام عليك يا أمه فقلت عليك السلام يا قرة عيني وثمرة فؤادي فقال يا أمه إني أشم عندك رائحة طيبة كأنها رائحة جدي رسول الله فقلت نعم إن جدك تحت الكساء فأقبل الحسن نحو الكساء وقال السلام عليك يا جداه يا رسول الله تأذن لي ندخل معك تحت الكساء فقال وعليك السلام يا ولدي ويا صاحب حوضي قد أذنت لك فدخل معه تحت الكساء. اللهم صل على محمد. فما كانت إلا ساعة وإذا بولد الحسن قد أقبل وقال السلام عليك يا أمه فقلت عليك السلام يا ولدي ويا قرة عيني وثمرة فؤادي فقال لي يا أمه إني أشم أنك رائحة طيبة كأنها رائحة جدي رسول الله صلى الله عليه وآله فقلت نعم إن جدك وأخاك تحت الكساء فدنا الحسين نحو الكساء وقال السلام عليك يا جداه السلام عليك يا من اختاره الله تأذن لي نكون معك ما تحت الكساء فقال وعليك السلام يا ولدي ويا شافع أمتي قد أذنت لك فدخل معهما تحت الكساء. اللهم صل على محمد. فأقبل عند ذلك أبو الحسن علي بن أبي طالب وقال السلام عليك يا بنت رسول الله فقلت عليك السلام يا أبا الحسن ويا أمير المؤمنين فقال يا فاطمة إني أشم عندك رائحة طيبة كأنها رائحة أخي وابن عمي رسول الله فقلت نعم ها هو مع ولديك تحت الكساء فأقبل علي نحو الكساء وقال السلام عليك يا رسول الله تأذن لي أن أكون معكم تحت الكساء قال له وعليك السلام يا أخي ويا وسي وخليفتي وساحب لواء قد أذنت لك فدخل علي تحت الكساء. اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد. ثم أتيت نحو الكساء وقلت السلام عليك يا أبتاه يا رسول الله تأذن لي أن أكون معكم تحت الكساء قال وعليك السلام يا بنتي ويا بضعتي قد أذنت لك فدخلت تحت الكساء. اللهم صل على محمد. فلما اكتملنا جميعا تحت الكساء أخذ أبي رسول الله بطرفي الكساء وأومى بيده اليمنى إلى السماء وقال اللهم إن أهل بيتي وخاستي وحامتي لحمهم لحمي ودمهم دمي يؤلمني ما يؤلمهم ويحزنني ما يحزنهم أنا حرب لمن حاربهم وسلم لمن سالمهم وعدو لمن عاداهم ومحب لمن أحبهم إنهم مني وأنا منهم فاجعل صلواتك وبركاتك ورحمتك وغفرانك ورضوانك علي وعليهم واذهب عنهم الرجس وطهرهم تطهيرا. اللهم صل على محمد وآل. فقال الله عز وجل يا ملائكة يا سكان السماوات إني ما خلقت سماء مبنية ولا أرضا مدحية ولا قمرا منيرا ولا شمسا مضية ولا فلك يدور ولا بحر يجري ولا فلك يسري إلا في محبتها لا الخمسة الذين هم تحت الكساء. اللهم صل على محمد. فقال الأمين جبرائيل يا رب ومن تحت الكساء فقال عز وجل هم أهل بيت النبوة هم عدن لهم فاطمة وأبوها وبعضها وبنوها. اللهم صل على محمد. فقال جبرائيل يا رب تأذن لي رهبتها إلى الأرض أكون معهم سادسا فقال الله نعم قد أذنت لك فهبت الأمين جبرائيل فقال السلام عليك يا رسول الله. العلي الأعلى يقرأك السلام ويخصك بالتحية والإكرام ويقول لك وعزتي وجلالي إني ما خلقت سماء مبنية ولا أرض ملحية ولا قمرا منيرا ولا شمس مضية ولا فلك يدور ولا بحر يجري ولا فلك يسري إلا لأجلكم ومحبتكم وقد أذن لي أن أدخل معكم فلتأذنوا لي يا رسول الله. فقال رسول الله وعليك السلام يا من وحي الله إنه نعم قد أذنت لك. فدخل جبرائيل معنا تحت الكساء.
اللهم صل على
فقال لأبي إن الله قد أوحى إليكم يقول إنما يريد الله ليذهب عنكم الرجس أهل البيت ويطهركم تطهيرا. الله.
صل على محمد.
فقال علي لأبي يا رسول الله أخبرني ما لجلوسنا هذا تحت الكساء من الفضل إن الله. فقال النبي والذي بعثني بالحق نبيا واصطفاني بالرسالة نجيا ما تغرى خبرنا هذا في محفل من محافل أهل الأرض وفيه جموع من شياتنا ومحبينا إلا ونزلت عليهم الرحمة وحفت بهم الملائكة واستغفرت لهم إلى أن يتفرقوا. فقال علي نظام الله يحفظنا وفاة شياتنا ورب الكعبة. فقال النبي ثانيا يا علي والذي بعثني بالحق نبيا واصطفاني بالرسالة نجيا ما تغرى خبرنا هذا في محفل من محافل أهل الأرض وفيه جموع من شياتنا ومحبينا وفيهم مهموم إلا وفرج الله عما ولا مغموم إلا وكشف الله عما ولا طالب حاجة إلا وقضى الله حاجته. فقال علي نظم الله فزنا وسعدنا وكذلك شيعتنا فازوا ويسعدوا في الدنيا والآخرة ورب الكعبة. اللهم
صل على محمد. Mic is playing up today.
Sir?
Mic is playing up today.
I'm not sure what's going on.
Probably just cheap.
It's on.
Up and down.
Like, yeah. If we can have a loud salawat for our English speaker, brother Imran Qaseem. Allahumma salli ala Muhammad. Okay, I'll go inside.
Assalamu alaikum, it's you again.
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان اللعين الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم.
I'm sorry, but I,
الحمد لله رب العالمين. الحمد لله الذي هدانا لهذا وما كنا لنهتدي لولا أن هدانا الله. الصلاة والسلام والتحية والإكرام على رسول المسدد والمصطفى الأمجد والمحمود الأحمد سيدنا ومولانا ومولى الكونين وجد الحسن والحسين آني أبي القاسم محمد.
Allahumma
صل على محمد وعلى أهل بيته الطيبين الطاهرين المعصومين المظلومين ولعنة الله أعدائهم أجمعين. رب اشرح لي صدري ويسر لي أمري واحلل عقدة من لساني يفقهوا قولي. قال الله تعالى في كتابه الكريم فقوله الحق. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. ولا تلبسوا الحق بالباطل وتكتموا الحق وأنتم تعلمون. صدق الله العلي العظيم. صلوات على محمد وعلى محمد.
Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ali.
I only hear one or two voices. Why is that, please? There is barakah in reciting salawat. You need to recite salawat in a voice so that I can hear. It gives you blessings. Sallu ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad.
Allahumma salli ala
Muhammad
Muhammad wa ali.
Why are you so being so shy? Yeah, you need to be loud. You know, you have a loud voice. I know, because you're very, very blessed. Okay, my dear brothers and sisters, we have reached the last majlis of this series of majalis, right? And we have been discussing or questioning history on the status that history has given the family of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And we have been asking or exhorting the Muslims to check on what is the reason that history has given the status or not to the Ahlul Bayt, and why is it that nobody has questioned it till now? We have been exalting them for years and years, so I'm making my own attempt this time. So I spoke about the status of Rasulullah's ancestors, Rasulullah himself, his wife, his daughter, and his son-in-law and cousin, Hazrat Ali ibn Abi Talib alayhi salam. Now, today was Arbaeen, so we have had the Arbaeen main Majlis last night. But it is Arbaeen, so we will mention something about Arbaeen. But I want to conclude with the status and the position of the two grandsons of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, Imam Hassan and Hussain. Salawat ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. Some people are sitting way back. You want to come ahead or you want to stay? Okay, yeah, I can understand your position. Yeah, okay. So now, we know Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam had two grandsons. We all know that? Yeah? What were the names? Yeah.
Imam Hussain and Imam Hassan.
Okay, very good. MashaAllah. So the youngsters in the front are prompt with the answers. The elders at the back are very quiet. They don't like their voices to be heard. That's okay. No, not now. At the end. Now, Rasulullah had two grandsons, and the status of these grandsons was very, very different from all other children. Why am I saying that? Let me give you some examples like I've been giving in the previous sessions all the time. And let me give you some examples so that we realize what we are talking about and who we are talking about now. Now, to start with, give you the example of Imam Hassan alayhi salam. In the history of the world, there's only one person, both whose parents are Masoom, and he himself is Masoom. He was the first one. And the second one was his brother, Imam Hussain alayhi salam, whose both parents were Masoom, which means error-free. They were sin-free. I want to use the word infallible, but then they'll give me the fatwa of kufr, that only Allah is infallible. So I refrain from that and say error-free and sin-free and mistake-free and all that's word that you want to talk about. But they were Masoom, and their children, the two children were Masoom. Imam Hassan alayhi salam was the first one who had this privilege to be the son of two Masoom parents. Now, like every other children, when the day of Eid comes, children like to have the new clothes and the new toys and whatever presents you want to give them on the Eid. Now, the day or the evening before Eid, Hassan alayhi salam saying to his mother, so Mom, everybody will be wearing new clothes, but we don't have any new clothes. So it'll be very awkward. And he's complaining that, not complaining, but he's just like children say to their parents, that, oh, I don't have new clothes. So Mom says, oh, it's with the tailors. It'll come to the tailors. So really? Now then the question becomes that you say that Fatima has never told a false statement ever. Now, there is nothing with the tailor, but she has told her son that it's with the tailor. There's a situation here that I want to address, because we consider Fatima Salamu alayha to be error-free, to be mistake-free. She is not one who says any falsehood. She's always on the truth, right? Even by just to console her son, she said something which was untrue, according to them. So how come you're saying that she's infallible? How come you're saying she's error-free? Now, just stop there for a second. If it was something that happened yesterday, and she said about that today, which was untrue, which didn't happen, then I accept that. Fine. That was a mistake, my mistake. But if it's something that has not yet happened, and it might happen later on, we wait for the time to approach, and then we conclude whether it was untrue or true. Right? So she said it's with the tailor, and you'll get the new clothes. Now, at night, there's a knock on the door, and somebody calls out, and Fatima Salamullah says, "Who is that?" She says, "It's the tailor with the new clothes for the children." Now, normal people, if they have not given anything to the tailor, they will say, "No, I don't think we have anything to the tailor, so we're not expecting anything." So it's not ours. Maybe there's a mistake from your part. But Fatima Salamullah alayha recognized the voice of the angel. She's a daughter of Rasulullah. She recognized the voice of the angel. The angels have come with new clothes for Hassan and Hussain Salamullah alayhi. Salawat ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. I mean, is it a surprise if their tailor is an angel? This is the house of Nabuwa, where the wahi comes all the time and the angels come all the time and they play with the cradle of the children. This is not a surprise. So there is no untruth. Allah will never let any quote from his infallible being to become untrue. Even if she says something, Allah will create a situation where it will become true with time, as we saw in this situation. Okay, that's fine. So the next day, Eid happens, and the children in the community, they are wearing their nice clothes, and so are Hassan and Hussain. And they are going on their camels, the father's camels and all that. And Hassan says to Rasulullah, Ya Rasulullah, everybody's on their camels. We don't even have a right to go on. And Rasulullah says, okay, come on to my shoulder. So he took them on the right shoulder, on the left shoulder, and he took them on for a ride. Now, you look at it. If you don't have a car, and you say, my friends are going around in a car, and you say to your dad, I want to have a ride as well. Your dad says, okay, come on my shoulder. And you say, well, I can't go anywhere on your shoulder. It might be around the house, maybe. But I can't go. You can't take me to, let's say, central London to the zoo or something like that on your shoulder. We need a car, but we don't have one. But that was not the point here. The point was the leaders of Jannah were on the greatest prophet of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, wearing clothes of Jannah on top of the greatest prophet of Allah's shoulders. So they want to show that the Masoom have a Masoom as their right. That was the point that was being made over there. It was not about how far they can go. It was about the fact that, they showing to the people that, this is our grandfather, he is the Rasul of Allah, and we are on top of his shoulder. So the thing to note here is the one who follows Rasulullah is the Ummah, and the one who gets on the shoulder of Rasulullah is the Ahlul Bayt. Salawatullah alayh. Salawatullah Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. And we have seen these examples many a time. And I said in the past as well, in the series where I gave you the example of how you don't place another book on the Quran. You place a Quran on the Quran. And then I related it to when children wanted to get on top of Rasulullah's lap and they wanted to be carried and all that stuff. And how Rasulullah gave them reasons because he could not say no, which is going to be a slight on his character. How can you deny somebody? You are the one with the greatest character. So Rasulullah was never known to say no. When he wanted to say no, he went quiet. And that was an indication of people to say that he's not actually agreeing to what you're saying and he's not happy to do what you're asking him to do. So he just went quiet. Otherwise, Rasulullah would always agree to people who wanted to get something done or say something or whatever to agree upon. So Rasulullah was a very amiable sort of a person. And this was one more example to show that look at the status of these children that I have here. These are on top of the shoulders of the greatest prophet of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And they come on my back, they come on my shoulders, and they lie on my chest when they're sleeping. All these things are being shown by Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam to give them the status of these two grandsons to the people. Now let's look at another situation. The worst came when the Christians of Najran came to Rasulullah to argue and to have a debate about which is the correct religion, why should I follow you and all that. So when they came in, the verse came on. Come with your women, come with your sons, and come with your nafs. And then have a mubahala with the Christians, right? I'm not going to go into the details of that again. Now, the thing is, Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam had no sons. Rasulullah did not have any sons. He did have, but Allah took them away in very, very young age. They died very soon. So Rasulullah did not have any sons. If somebody doesn't have any sons, and you know that you didn't have any son, you would ask him to bring their sons, right? Well, it's hurtful to them. For example, I'm living in your neighborhood and somebody doesn't have any sons, and then this person is having a wedding in the family, and they send like an invitation to say, please come and come with your sons. When he knows that the other person doesn't have sons, that will break his heart, right? Because he knows he doesn't have any sons, and still he's asking to bring their sons. So this is Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. If the Christians of Najran had said, okay, bring your sons, then it would be understandable. They are from Najran, they don't know who is in the family. They don't know. It's okay. But Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is saying to Rasulullah, bring your sons. Because Allah knows on the night of Hijrah, Ali had sold his soul to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And Allah has bought his soul and said, we'll give you in return. And his sons were Rasulullah's sons. That means the grandsons of Rasulullah were the sons of Rasulullah. Salawatullah Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. So when the thing came about the truthfulness of the deen, Rasulullah himself took his two grandsons as his sons, and they were the characteristics or the representatives of the truth. So that's what Rasulullah also was showing to the people of Medina and to the wider world, that listen, these two are the truthful ones, along with his daughter and along with his cousin and son-in-law. These are the five who are the truthful ones. These are the five who were in the Hadith Kisa, in the verse of Tathir, or the verse of purity, in which it was defined, and it was defined by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to Jibreel when he asked, who are these people? Jibreel was told by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala that it is Fatima, her father, her husband, and her two children. Salawatullah Muhammad wa ali Muhammad.
Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad.
Sorry, on the sister side, there's a bit of noise coming in, and the gentlemen here are getting distracted. Please, can you manage that noise, please? I know it can be difficult sometimes, so it's nothing to be feeling awkward about, but yeah. Okay, now let's carry on that. So Imam Hassan alayhi salam, when he became the Imam, it is written in the books of Muslims that the Khilafat al-Rashidin, or the rightly guided caliphate, finished when Hassan did an agreement, a treaty with the son of Abu Sufyan, which was 6 months after Imam Hassan alayhi salam was into the caliphate. They wrote that 6 months after, when the treaty was done with Muawiyah, the caliphate, or what is called the rightly guided caliphate, or the Khilafat al-Rashidin, came to an end. That the scholars got themselves into a fix now. You know why? Because it would have been easier for them to say that when Ali alayhi salam died, when Ali died and he was martyred, that's when the Khilafat came to an end, the Rashida came to an end. The rightly guided caliphate came to an end at that time. But they didn't, because they knew that there was a rightly guided person who was still there, who was still the leader, which was Imam Hassan ibn Ali alayhi salam. And he was there, he was leading the Muslim Ummah, but the governor of Damascus was so corrupt and so greedy for power that he wanted to take all the reins. And he actually made Imam Hassan sign a treaty. So it is very clear here that when the rightly guided person is present, still the Muslim Ummah chose to give that rightly guided person away and gave their hand onto a not so rightly guided person, or a very corrupt person. Even though Imam Hassan was there, the Muslim Ummah got together, supported the governorate from Damascus, which was the son of Abu Sufyan, and they gave up on Imam Hassan alayhi salam. Tell me something, my dear friends, my dear brothers and sisters. When you have the two great meritorious people available to you in the community, in the society, in the country, in the whole ummah, two great people who Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam said are the leaders of youth in paradise, and you have them amidst you, you wouldn't like to give them up. This is a community who gave up on them and took up the hand of Abu Sufyan's family. It is such a tragic situation for the Muslims. And then
They started calling him Razi Allah Ta'ala Anhu, Muawiyah. He was known to be so corrupt. My agenda and my topic is not to criticize the opponents of Rasulullah and his Ahlul Bayt. I'm not here to badmouth anybody. We know what is there, but we know what the deficiencies were there of that man. My topic here is to extol the virtues of the Ahlul Bayt and question history, why they have done what they have done. It's not to talk or put down somebody. It's not that. It is clear in history. If you want to pick up a history book, any history book, you will know what kind of a person this governor of Damascus was. And then he declared himself a caliph of the Muslim Ummah and gave himself the title Amir al-Mu'mineen. Amir al-Mu'mineen. And so if these kinds of people start becoming Amir al-Mu'mineen, there is no chance for the people being led to be on the right path. Because the leader itself is so corrupt, so distorted from the truth, that there is no chance for the people being led to be on the straight path at all. So this is one thing about Imam Hassan al-Islam. Imam Hassan al-Islam, when he did the treaty, they said Imam Hassan was a weak person. You know, he's not actually the Imam. People said that. And many of them believed it as well. But they said the same thing about Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam when he signed the Treaty of Hudaybiyah. They doubted the prophethood of Rasulullah as well. Nothing happened to Imam Hassan al-Islam. Imam Hassan al-Islam remained the second Imam after Rasulullah. Nothing happened to the Risala or the prophethood of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. He is still and will always be the greatest prophet of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. What did happen was that the Iman of the people who said that has been destroyed. Salawat Muhammad wa alihi. And then people started saying, oh, Imam Hassan and Imam Hussein had a bit of a difference, you know, they were different. They had differences, they did not agree with each other. And this is another way to try to malign the family of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. You try to do a character assassination by saying these two brothers didn't agree with each other. They were very, you know, against each other. Why? Because Imam Hassan alayhi salam did the treaty with an opponent, with an enemy of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Well, let me tell you something. The Imam of the time is a representative of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And he is on the right path, whether people like it or not, whether people agree with him or not. He is on the right path. He knows what he is meant to be doing. And he has been appointed by whom? He has been appointed by whom? The Imam. Nobody knows? Come on. Who is the Imam appointed by? Allah. You all know that. Why are you sitting quiet like dummies, you all? Come on, say something. And the elders are smiling from the back because they know what the correct answer is. They don't want to answer me, of course. Everybody will know that, what they know. So Allah appoints the Imam. So tell me something. Is the Imam supposed to follow the policy of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala or the public? It is Allah, right? Because obviously whoever appoints the Imam is supposed to, you know, implement the policies of that being Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. If the people don't like it, then so be it. They don't agree with it. Oh, he was weak, you know, he didn't, you know, Imam Hussein did not agree with the policy of Imam Hassan al-Islam. Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam said that my two grandsons are Imams, whether they are sitting or standing. What does that mean? Whether they're sitting on a chair or they're standing on a mimbar or something? That's not that. It means if they're sitting or standing means whether they are in peace or whether they rise up and revolt. Both situations, they are Imams. So that is what Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam meant. And that is why when Imam Hassan al-Islam did the treaty with the opponent, it was a necessity of the time to do that. And Imam Hussein, like they say, was not in agreement with Imam Hassan al-Islam. He was in the Imamah of Imam Hassan for 10 years. For 10 years. He never raised a word about it. This is all the scholars who started saying that Imam Hussein didn't like it. How do they know? They were there? They were not there. It's all attempts at character assassination. Okay, Imam Hassan al-Islam's Shahada happened. And the Battle of Karbala happened 10 years after the death of Imam Hassan al-Islam. Which means that Imam Hussain al-Islam was an Imam for 10 years when the Battle of Karbala happened. So if he was against Imam Hassan alayhi salam's position, then as soon as Imam Hassan alayhi salam died, Imam Hussain should have taken up the sword and said, Army, come on, let's go and attack these people. You know, my brother was wrong when he did the treaty with the opponent. Come on, he's not there anymore. I'm the Imam. Let's go and fight. He didn't do that. He agreed with the policy that his brother had implemented. Because Imam Hassan alayhi salam's policy was there to expose this person through that treaty. And he is been extremely easily and clearly exposed. People don't talk about it. That's different. The Surah Al-Hassan is a different topic. I can't talk about it now, but it is a different topic. Whenever you want, I can come and give you a talk on Surah Al-Hassan as well. What was there in the treaty? What were the points? And what did Imam Hassan expose of the governor of Damascus at that time? So Imam Hussain rises up after 10 years. Now, why did Imam Hussain rise up? Because Yazid was appointed the caliph by his father, Muawiyah, once Muawiyah died. And that was also another part of the treaty that was broken. But it was in the treaty that he should not appoint anybody to the caliphate, and the caliphate has to pass back to Imam Hassan al-Islam. And if he's not there, then it has to go back to his brother, Hussain al-Islam. So Imam Hassan al-Islam had put it there in the treaty. But obviously, Muawiyah didn't do that. He didn't do that, and he gave it to his son. His son was even worse than his father. Even worse than the worst of the worst of humanity, from the dredges of humanity, he was there from that. And he said that he would like to have the bay'ah of Hussain alayhi salam. What is the meaning of bay'ah, right? Bay'ah means what?
Allegiance.
Allegiance. Okay, allegiance, English term, allegiance. But what is the meaning of bay'ah? In English, we say bay'ah. Bay'ah comes from the bay'ah, as we say in Urdu, comes from the word bay' in Arabic. Bay' means a sales transaction. A sales transaction. When you go and buy a phone, that's a bay' in Arabic, right? That's a sales transaction that happened, and you got the phone and you gave them some money. So it's called bay'. Now, when you give bay'ah, you are selling something. You're selling your allegiance to somebody to whom you're giving the bay'ah. So what did Imam Hussain al-Islam have that Yazid wanted to buy? What did he have? You know, if you open up a nice showroom in the middle of the treaty center, you all know the treaty center? It's in Hamdros, I mentioned treaty center.
Yeah.
Or in Westfield for that matter. You go open up a nice glass showroom, there's nothing in there to sell, right? So people are going to ask, you know, what is this shop selling? It's got nothing I can see there. What is the shop selling? You'll start asking about that. But what did Imam Hussain al-Islam have to sell that Yazid wanted so badly? I'll tell you in my own way what Imam Hussain al-Islam had. Imam Hussain al-Islam had the knowledge of Adam. He had the patience of Nuh. He had the beauty of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. He had the beauty of Imam Ali alayhi salam. He had the purity of his mother Fatima sallallahu alaiha. He had the protection of Islam. He had the jalal of the Kaaba. All that he had. That is what Yazid wanted to buy. And Imam Hussain al-Islam said, no, I will not sell you all this. You don't deserve to be sold this. I do not give bay'ah to somebody who is like you. He didn't say, I will not give bay'ah. He said, somebody like me. He's giving a principle here, not talking about, you know, individuals. Somebody like me does not give bay'ah to somebody like him. Which means what? The principles are there. The truthful, the honest, the integrated person does not give bay'ah to a corrupt, untruthful, debased person. And that is what Imam Hussain al-Islam did. And he said, I will not give you bay'ah. And that is what he did not like. And that is why he asked, or he ordered the entire, you know, government of the Muslim Caliphate to get hold of Hussain and either kill him or get his bay'ah. This is what happened in Medina. This is what happened in Makkah. When Imam Hussain al-Islam was there, he was going there to do Hajj. And then he realized that they were murderers in the garb of Hajis. He left Makkah because he didn't want his blood to be spilled in the Holy Land. He left from Makkah because he had got lots of letters from Kufa to go there and lead them. There were 10,000 letters in sacks, you know, not like emails today, but they used to send letters. And they were in sacks. 10,000 is not a small amount. And Imam Hussain led on to go to Kufa with his family members. And once there, they created a lot of problems right from their way till the time he reached Karbala, which was not his intention, but they did not allow him to get to Kufa, which is what Imam Hussain alayhi salam is one of the leaders of Jannah. All these scholars, along with his brother, he's a leader of Jannah, like I mentioned before, and you all know already. All these scholars who are writing all the stuff that they're writing, that this guy is this and this guy is that, and they're leaving the hand of the Ahlul Bayt alayhi salam, specifically Imam Hassan and Imam Hussain alayhi salam, and these are the leaders of Jannah. How do they, aim to get salvation and get into Jannah? That's the question I'm asking these historians. Salawat ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad.
Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ali.
You've had a really nice series of lectures till now. I know there's a lot of noise coming from the other side. I can't control it. I will request respectfully, sisters, please be quiet. If you want to listen to the lecture, please be here. Otherwise, do whatever you have to do, but please do not create the noise. Because the people here are getting distracted and they're making faces here, which I can see here. So please be quiet as a mark of respect for all the people who are wanting to listen. Salawat ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad.
Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ali.
It's unfortunate that I have to say all that, but people should realize anyway. Let's continue. Now, so Imam Hussain alayhi salam has a situation where he is being killed in Karbala, thirsty and hungry. Thirsty and hungry, not just him, his family, his friends, all of them are being killed in Karbala. Now, for 1400 years, people are crying about Imam Hussain alayhi salam and his family. Now what, 1444 now? And we are crying for God knows more how many years we are crying, 1384 years now. 1383 years now we are crying for. Because he was killed in 61 after Hijrah, and now we are on 1444. I hope my arithmetic is correct. If it is not, please correct me. Now, people have been crying for these many years, and there's complaints that are there in history, and even now. What are these guys doing, man? They're sitting every year, have this majlis, and they talk about the same old thing every year, and then they beat their chest and they cry. And then they take their hissa or they take their share of the tabarruk and then they go. Every year they do that. This is bid'ah. This is what the scholars will tell you, this is bid'ah. Okay. What are we doing, by the way? We are trying to remember who was on the truthful path, and being on the truthful path, he was decimated along with his family in the physical sense, by the way. Only in the physical sense. He was decimated, he was killed. And he was tortured while he was alive in his last few days. So it was extremely, extremely painful for the lovers of those people to live through that. And they say, oh, sadness is only for 3 days. Well, I told you already that sadness is not for 3 days. Rasulullah made that year in which Bibi Khadija died and Hazrat Abu Talib alayhi salam died, that whole year as a year of sadness. So at least minimum 1 year. And the Quran says that Yaqub cried for his son for years. So much he cried, Yaqub alayhi salam, for his son Yusuf alayhi salam, that he became blind. Now, how do you become blind? By crying with people you don't know. People who know, you can have your blood vessels burst in your eyes if you cry too much, and then it can be like tears of blood after that. So Yaqub alayhi salam cried and cried so much that he became blind. So if Quran is giving an example of Yaqub alayhi salam, who was a prophet, and Yusuf alayhi salam, who was a prophet, and they were separated from each other. Yaqub alayhi salam, being the prophet, he knew that his son is alive, but it was only a separation, and he cried so much. Where are these guys coming from? There's only 3 days in the Sharia that you have to be sad for. After that, you start having a laugh. Ask the person who is suffering the loss. After 3 years, can you become normal? You can't. For 1 week, 1 month, 1 year, you don't get over it that easily. If it's somebody really, really close, somebody you really, really love. Here, we are talking about the leader of youth in paradise. We all want to end up in paradise or not?
Yes.
Anybody going to go to hell?
No.
Okay, fine. So we are talking about our leader who will take us to paradise. We are crying for him. We're not disturbing anybody. We are not going out and creating a ruckus in the community over there on the road. We're not creating roadblocks, anything like that. We are in a quiet place, in a place of worship where we are remembering Imam Hussaini Islam and giving our condolences to Lady Fatima Salamullah, who is his mother, and Rasulullah, who is his grandson, and all the rest of the Imam Khan Islam. And we are trying to remember what history has done so much injustice to them, which is what my whole topic was for the series of lectures. And that is what we are doing. So why are people having a problem? There's no need. There's no need to do, for after 40 years, why are you beating your chest? Because it's not jaiz. It's not jaiz to, have this tabarrukat. It's not jaiz to cry so much. It's not jaiz to do azadar. Okay? It's not jaiz. MashaAllah, these muftis and scholars come around to us, the learned people. What can I say about them? They are learned people. They're giving their scholarship to us that is not jaiz. Azadari is not jaiz. Majlis is not jaiz. And giving tabarukat is not jaiz. Putting out desks on the street for people to give people drinks, not jaiz. Don't drink from it. Making that special dish on Muharram to feed the people after Asr, not jaiz. Don't eat from there. It's not jaiz. Now the entire Ummah has bought into that ideology, and they say these things are not jaiz. We're not going to touch it. I want to ask the question, is the killing of Hussain jaiz or not? Anybody have any answer to that? Killing of Hussain is not jaiz, right? Everybody agree. Whoever it is okay, I said Hussain, forget about it. Any innocent person, is it jaiz to kill him or not? No, never. It is never. So this is the pure genealogy from Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, who they are making every effort to torment and torture and oppress and then kill. What's gone wrong with these people? We need to ask history. Why are you saying what you're saying, that this is jaiz? Okay, in the name of that innocent person, if I have desks of water and ruafza and Coke or Pepsi or whatever drink I want to give to the public in remembrance of that person, what is the problem with anybody else? If we are having a majlis to remember the virtues of that person, what is the problem with it? If you don't want to come, we're not forcing you to come. And for 1440 years, this is going on. Not 1440 years, as I mentioned, 1383 years is going on and on. Tell me honestly, all of you brothers and sisters who are listening, when you have a sadness in the family, you feel very sad. And the sadness remains for a very long period of time. As they say in English, time heals. And you get healed over a period of months, years, and all that. You don't have the same intensity of sadness which was there like at the time when the death happened or the accident happened till let's say 10 years later. It's not the same intensity of sadness or pain that you feel. Whenever you remember that person, you will feel the pain. You were close to that person, whether it's your father, your mother, your brother, sister, your child, whoever it is, your grandparent, you will feel the pain because you love that person. He loved you or she loved you, but that person has been taken away. And we feel the pain. Every time we remember them, we'll remember them with sadness and respect and all that. But the pain actually reduces. You don't do the remembrance with the same intensity when you did it in the first year as compared to the 10th year, for example. There is something special about the remembrance of Imam Hussain alayhi salam, which after so many years and so many centuries, right from the time when people used to travel on donkeys to now when we travel on A380s and we have smartphones, we still are crying with the same, if not more intensity for Imam Hussain alayhi salam. There is something special about this. And human beings cannot create this special thing. You know what? If I invite you to dinner at my place, say it's my birthday, would you like to come please? It's my birthday. Some of you say, yeah, let's go and have cake at this place. I don't know. Some people might, I don't even know them. And they might say, I don't know the Moulana, but he's a good guy, but I don't want to go to his place. I don't know him. Not coming. Okay. This place, I say, there's a Majlis of Hussain. This person is coming to speak. You don't know me. You've never seen me before. And you all have gathered here. Why? Because Hussain is the name you're coming to hear about. It doesn't matter who's speaking. As long as he's speaking correctly, you come to hear about Hussain. Doesn't matter who you know the next person or not. Hundreds of people are sitting here. Nobody's bothered about whether we know each other or not. As long as there is zikr of Hussain, we are going to go there. No invitation needed. As long as you get a message on WhatsApp or your text message on the phone that this is happening there and you're close to that place, you will go and attend. Because that is what the love of Hussain is all about. Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, in the hearts of the moment, there's a fire which is burning for the love of Hussain that will never abate. This is the hadith of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, who was known as Sadiq and Al-Amin, the truthful and the trustworthy. Which means if Rasulullah said that, then this will continue till the end of time. You can kill as many times as you want. You can maim and you can capture, assassinate as much as you want. This will never go away. In fact, if I look at it from my time, people used to have their majlis in their Imam Bargahs in these Muslim countries. Some Muslim countries will not allow it. That was like 40 years ago, whenever it was. You see there's an Imam Bargah, Shia Imam Bargah there, and it's Shia Islamic Center. They're having majlis. Why? Because it's Muharram time. Okay? They don't have any work. So what they do is they go into the majlis. They don't have any work to do. Because to be on the straight and narrow, they sit there, because otherwise they go on the street and create mischief otherwise. But nowadays, you see a majlis of Hussain is happening here in London, not just one place in London, tens of places in London. Today, the Arbaeen of Imam Hussain, tens of places in London, Arbaeen majlis is happening. You go to New York, Majlis are happening everywhere. You go to anywhere, you go to New Zealand, there's majlis happening. In South Africa, there's majlis happening. Everywhere. If nothing, the remembrance of Hussain has only expanded and spread and become more deep. Because the more people will come to know about this personality, the more people will fall in love with it. And they want to know why he was tormented, why he was oppressed, why he was tortured, why he was killed. When it was the leader of your paradise that is going to take you to paradise, how come you killed him? And these all people who killed him were the people who claimed to be Muslims. They were people who said, La ilaha illallah Muhammad Rasulullah. They were people, like I mentioned earlier as well. They were Hafiz al-Quran. They were Hajis over there. And they were opposing Imam Hussain al-Islam. What had gone wrong with them? Why was this happening? We question history onto why this happened. And again, I say, the status of those scholars who let this slide, or they did not oppose what was happening, their iman needs to be questioned. What made them get away? What made them get away with this? Why couldn't they stand up for the truth? Not many stood up for the truth because the rulers were such that they would not allow them to live in peace. It always happens. So now is the time when I have the freedom to speak. I will speak, and I will ask you again to explore what is written in there and come to the truth. Come to the truth and give the status of Ahlul Bayt alayhi salam as it is due. Now, let me clear one thing again by stopping here. That the Ahlul Bayt alayhi salam are not needy of the respect from us to be given. No, they're not saying, yeah, Moulana, you're not talking about us, we need more respect. No, they don't ask all that stuff. Allah has given them the respect and nobody can take it away. Whether I speak, whether you come or not, Allah has given them the respect. We are dependent on their shafa. They are not dependent on our tears and our remembrances. Just be very clear of that. If we do not cry, somebody else, Allah will come make them appear to cry for them. Why? You know what? Because it is the dua of the one lady who is known as the Khatun al-Jannat, Sayyidat an-Nisa al-Alameen, Fatimah al-Zahra, Salamullah alayha. Salawat ala Muhammad wa ala Muhammad. If she makes a dua, Allah will never ever deny her. If she utters something, Allah is not going to deny her. She made this dua when she asked when she saw Rasulullah crying when her second baby son was born. Everybody started crying because Rasulullah is crying, and he's not just crying; he's like literally sobbing. And Lady Fatima Salamullah asked, "Ya Rasulullah, is there something wrong with my baby? Why are you crying? What's wrong?" And Rasulullah told her that this son of yours will be killed by the Ummah, thirsty and hungry on the plains in the desert of Karbala. Lady Fatima did not ask why will they kill him, or who's going to save him, or who's going to fight on his behalf. No, she said, will you be there, Ya Rasulullah? She said, no. So will Ali be there? Rasulullah said no. Will Hassan be there? Rasulullah said no. So her main worry was, who is going to cry for my Hussein? It wasn't who is going to fight for my Hussein. Who is going to cry for my Hussein? And Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam said that there will be a community will cry for your son till the end of time. Is this going to be denied by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala when it comes from Masoom? It is going to be held in high regard by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Because first of all, Hussein is the representative of Allah. Secondly, it's a dua of Fatima Zahra salamullah alayha that somebody has to be there to cry for Hussein. And which is why when we hear about Imam Hussein al-Islam, we cry for Imam Hussein al-Islam. The tragedy is so great. If it was for anybody, you would cry. If you heard from about anybody, you will cry. But it's become like a stigma for people that they cry for Hussein as if you're doing some great sin. Well, I will say that we are grateful to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala that He softened our hearts enough to cry for Hussein alayhi salam. Our love has to be shown some way or the other. And we are showing our love and our pain through our tears. And also, we have to show our love and pain by following the path that Hussein showed us. It's not just about crying and saying Nara Haidari and the Salawat. It's all good, but that's the starting point. We have to remember that we have to go forward from here. We are already at the starting point. We have taken a start. You know, the gun has gone for a start. Once you set the Nara Haidari, that means you're on that path now, and we have to strive forward and run the race properly by following the path of Imam Hussain alayhi salam. That is why we have this Azadari, and that's why we have this Majlis, so that people learn about it, learn what we are supposed to do from now on. This is all about my topic that I had started 10 nights ago, and I have reached to the point where I've spoken about the grandchildren of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Also, we could question history beyond this as well. We could go to Imam Ali Zain al-Abidin and Imam Muhammad al-Baqir, right up to Imam Hassan al-Askari al-Islam, and what happened with these people? What happened to the followers of these people? Why were they persecuted? Why were they always in fear of their lives and their property? Why were they in dungeons and in chains? Why were they under surveillance? All these we can talk about in history. But let's leave it there because we'll need another ashra for that to talk about the other Aimma alayhi salam. So we will talk about that when we get an opportunity, inshallah ta'ala. I am grateful for your cooperation that you have given me by listening to it and asking me questions at the end of it, which is fantastic. Which means that it tells me that you were listening. That's the only thing it tells me. It is important that I know that you were listening. Because, when somebody listens and says, Assalamu alaikum, Moulana, go, thank you very much. That's okay, but not good enough. But it's great. You start questioning me. Why did you say this? What did you say? It's good. That means you're listening. Now we have to walk the walk. I am talking the talk. Hopefully, by my own talks, I'm going to walk the walk. And you all will walk the walk as well. Because you're now a bit more informed. And I'm hoping all these lectures are going online will be informing people who will look into it. And will just make them question, why is this person saying what he's saying? Because, human beings are not always the same. Now, people say, this is the same thing, why do you keep saying we know what is right, we know what is wrong. We know all that. So wrong is wrong and right is right. We know all that. So I'll say, you know that, I accept that, you know that, I know that, but your children don't know that. Your children need to come into the Majlis. When they say this is not Jaiz, this is not Jaiz, this is Majlis, well, we are talking about the right things here. So why are you going to repeat the same thing, they say. So yes, we are going to repeat the same thing. You got a problem with that? When I repeat the same thing, then stop doing your namaz. Why? Allah, how are you saying he's a kafir? Why? So in the namaz, everybody knows, whoever does namaz, that the Surah Al-Hamd is wajib. Without Surah Al-Hamd, there is no namaz. In Surah Al-Hamd, you say, Sirat al-lazina an'amta alayhim ghayril maghdubi alayhim waladdallin. You say that. That means, let me follow the path of those you have rewarded and not the path of those who have gone astray and on whom your anger has come. We say that 5 times a day, 17 rakats. Not 17 rakats, at least we do in 10 rakats, we say that. Why are we saying it again and again and again when you know the right thing and the wrong thing? Stop doing it then. Allah says that you do it. You repeat it. You remind yourself that Ihdina as-sirat al-mustaqim, sirat al-lazina an'amta alayhim. So when you say Ihdina as-sirat al-mustaqim, Ya Allah, keep us on the straight path. What is the straight path? The path of those ones whom you have rewarded and not the path of those ones who have gone astray and on whom your anger is coming. Not on those parts. And we keep saying it every day, every day. If you don't say it, then you get scolded by your parents. Why you're not doing your namaz? Oh, it's the same thing. I did it yesterday, and I did it in the morning. What again? Allah says do it 5 times a day. You can't get away with that. So what is it that we are doing in the Majlis? We are trying to remind ourselves how to stay on Siratul Mustaqim. We are trying to find out who are the Siratul Lazina An'amta alayhim, the ones who have been rewarded by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And we're trying to keep away from Ghayril Maghdubi alayhim wal Dallin. So come into the Majlis and listen to what we say. If you don't like it, then don't come. Maybe you won't like the speaker, that's different. But the topic and the subject is extremely interesting and it's full of learning, inshallah. So all these things are there for people to understand. You know, we said it's the same thing. It's Muharram is just rituals. What is it? Listen to Majlis, you beat your chest and you cry and you take your tabarruk and go. It's rituals. Okay, what is Hajj then? Hajj is full of rituals. What about Hajj? You know, Bibi Hajra Salamullah alayh ran across Safa and Marwa 2,000, 3,000, 4,000 years ago, and we are still running behind her. What are we doing? Why are we doing now? We said 1,400 years ago, you're still beating your chest. You're still crying. So well, Bibi Hajra Salamullah ran away. I appreciate that she ran from here to there because she was worried for the thirst of her child, for the food of her child. There's a little baby. He was crying because it was too hot for there. You know, I appreciate her running. Why am I running 3,000 years later? I mean, you know, some of you have dodgy knees. You're still running between Safa and Marwa. Why? Allah said, do it. It's ritual. Okay. Ibrahim alayhi salam stoned the shaitan because he came to distract him from the sacrifice of his son. He threw stones. 3 times he threw stones when shaitan came to distract him. Why are we still throwing stones? And you know, nowadays there's so many people throwing stones over there. It's a health hazard. People die over there. You know, in the place where you have Rami Jamarat, people die over there. And we still throwing, nobody's asking questions on that. It's a ritual. It's a dangerous ritual nowadays because they have got hundreds of thousands of people in one day in a certain limited amount of time throwing stones there. You might get hit on the head. Some wheelchairs are there as well. Wheelchairs knock you on the ankle, you break your cartilage. Nobody's saying anything about that. This is a ritual as well. The thing is, if it doesn't make sense to these muftis and these maulanas and these scholars, sit down and get rid of all these. It doesn't make sense anymore. But they don't. It only comes when Muharram comes in. All this is useless. Well, rituals only. This is what sustains our iman so that we can do our prayers properly. We remember what happened with the representatives of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And we remember it gives us like newbound energy to believe in our iman with a new energy. It sustains our iman every year. When we cry, you know, when you cry because your heart is soft. And you're now so soft that you start crying. And when it is soft, then we say something on that, it hits you more. It impacts you more. Because let me tell you very clearly, elder people know already that, you know, anything that grows always grows on soft ground. You try to grow a tree on the rock, very, very difficult. But if you water the land and you can put the seed inside the land, then it becomes soft, a germination happens, something sprouts. This is what we are trying to do. When we cry, our hearts are soft, we learn something from here. Remember, Imam Hussaini Islamic was big on doing your wajib prayers on time. Even on the day of Ashura, when the arrows were raining on him, he did not stop his prayers. He did not stop his prayers. Till you die, we have to pray. So it gives us a new impetus on our religion, that we have to pray. Imam Hussaini Islam was big on prayers. He was big on, you know, fasting, giving sadaqah and zakat and bums and all that. So all these things we learn from these verses. And say, no, it's not jaiz, it's not jaiz. No, what is not jaiz? If it is not jaiz, I ask the question, is the killing of Hussain jaiz? In the name of Hussain, we treat people to food and water. What's the problem with that? You know, why are people questioning all these things which are not of any value at all? And you know, they will go to Jahannam. The ones who do this, according to you, bidah, they'll go to Jahannam. Why bother with that? You talk about this guy whom you don't want to talk about. What's the problem with Yazid? You know why they don't talk about Yazid? Because everybody, Muslim, non-Muslim, anybody who knows about Yazid will tell you that he was wrong. The staunchest of the Wahhabi will tell you that Yazid did wrong. The staunchest of the Wahhabi will tell you, and I've specifically given the example of Wahhabi, because all the Muslims know that Yazid was wrong, but they don't talk about it. You know why? When you talk about it, you start questioning. Why did that happen? And why did that happen? Why is Yazid coming to power? So his father put him in power. Who was his father? Muawiyah. Muawiyah put him in power. How did Muawiyah come to power? Oh, this person nominated him as the governor of that place. Oh, why did he nominate him? You ask questions and you keep going back and back and back. What will happen is one domino falls, everyone starts falling one by one. And it is difficult because everything is on the shaky ground at the moment. It's a domino effect. If you make one fall, everyone will fall right to the end, right to the beginning rather. And this is very dangerous for the belief system of people who do not want to accept that there is a problem. I'm not saying, who, and I'm not counting on figures here. I'm just saying investigate history and question it yourself. This is what I'm trying to put the seeds of, to germinate in your minds, to question history and ask, why was this written the way it was written? What was the problem there? What is the problem in us following Imam Hussain al-Islam and not the others? Why do we follow the others and not Imam Hussain al-Islam? What is the difference? Where are we going? How are we? Who is going to take us to salvation? Imam Sadiq al-Islam said in a hadith that Hussain is Safinatul Najat and Misbahul Huda. What does that mean? He is the ship or the ark of salvation and the light of guidance. People ask him the question, but Mawla, aren't you all the light of guidance and the ark of salvation? Imam Sadiq al-Islam replied, yes, we all are. But Hussein's ship is the widest and the biggest, and he is the brightest of the lights of guidance. So if anybody gets on the ship of Hussain al-Islam, he or she will be guided and salvaged. So why not all? We invite all. It's not, Hussain is not somebody's ownership, it's not somebody's property. He is everybody, he is humanity. Let's all get together and come to this unification factor that Hussain is everybody's. And we all increase in our love for Hussain. In the love for Hussain, it's no, we all love Hussain. But in the love of anybody, you cannot be friends with his enemy. In Islam as well, you say first, La ilaha, then you say ilallah. You negate first, then you give the positive remark that there is no God but God. And the mushrikeen of Makkah did not have a problem worshipping Allah. I worship 10, 20, 50, 100. What's another one? Get me another one. No problem. What benefit is he going to give me? They all did the cost benefit analysis. What benefit will he give me? Whatever benefit, you get Jannah. You get Jannah. Oh, okay, I'll pray for him. But no, Rasulullah did not say that. He said, first deny the rest of them. Stop this idolatry and then worship Allah. That's where they had the problem. No, we can't do that. We can't give up our idols, Allah, Manaf, and all those, gods that they have created. That is where there is a problem. The people who love Hussain, and I tell you what, people love Imam Hussain al-Islam. Their problem is disassociating with the enemies of Imam Hussain al-Islam. May Allah give everybody tawfiq to have the real love of Imam Hussain al-Islam and the Ahlul Bayt alayhim. My dear brothers, it is Arbaeen today. We have just gone through the day. I have requested my younger brothers yesterday to not have water the whole day, see how it feels. Anybody did that? Raise your hands. You did that? Well, for how long? Most of the day you didn't have any water? Yeah. No food?
I had food.
Oh, no, okay, fine, yeah. So you all try. It's hard, isn't it? It's hard. Did you try as well?
I tried to do it most of the day. I tried to drink water, but every time I drink water, it starts sticking my throat. Stop drinking things for the whole day.
So there you go. It is a difficult thing, And can you imagine if I stop you from drinking and eating as well for 3 days?
Oh.
3 days.
Fasting at the highest level.
Fasting at the highest level.
That'll
And
be
it was forced. If you want to do it yourself, then maybe you'll say, okay, I have the strength, I'll try and do it. But if somebody forces you, even if you don't want to do it, you will have to hang on, say, who are you to force me? Even if you want to do it, who are you to force me? But Imam Hussain al-Islam and his entire caravan was made to remain without water when the river was flowing right there. I want to visit the day of Ashura in front of you again. And it's going to bring tears to our eyes again. Because what happened on the day of Ashura? Layla's son is lying somewhere. Rabab's son is lying somewhere. No, Zainab's sons are lying somewhere. Everybody's lying somewhere or the other on the grounds, on the desert of Karbala. And Abbas is lying at the end of the river from where he could not get back with the water. His arms are lying separate from him. They are not with him anymore. And Imam Hussain Islam is left on his own. All on his own, he's there surveying the disaster and the calamity that has struck him. And he goes to the tent and he says, my sisters, my son Ali, I am going to fight the battle now. Okay? And you are going to the Imam. He gives him all the Imam's instructions and whatever he has to give. And he is now leaving the tent. He's now leaving. When he's leaving, he's asking for old clothes from his sister Zainab. Why is he asking for old clothes? And even when Zainab gave him the old clothes, he's tearing it. He's creating holes on the clothes and then wearing it. And Zainab is asking, my dear brother, why are you tearing your clothes? He said, you know what? They will loot me after I am killed. I know that. But maybe when they see that I'm wearing only tattered clothes, at least they leave those clothes on me. They didn't even leave the clothes on Hussein. How sad is the tragedy? This is the grandson of our highly respected Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Somebody wanted to get the ring out of his finger. He could not pull out the ring. So he chopped off Hussein's finger just for the sake of a ring. What was wrong with people? What were they doing? Imam Hussain al-Islam, when he was going to the battlefield, he got onto the horse. He was helped by his sisters to get onto the horse. When he went on the horse, he went to the battlefield and he's surveying all the people who are dead over there. And he's saying, Aina Habib, where are you, my friend Habib? Aina Zuhair, where are you, Zuhair? Aina Muslim, where are you, Muslim? No response is coming. And then Imam Hussain says, Aina Aun, Aina Muhammad. No response. And then he looks someplace and he says, Aina Ali al-Akbar, my son Ali Akbar, where are you? No response. Ali Akbar is dead. Everybody is dead. He moves on. He rises up on the stirrups of the horse and he looks far and he says, Aina Abbas, my brother Abbas, you are lying there by the river. I'm all on my own. And Imam Hussain alayhi salam goes to the battlefield. The historians are writing that he is like a hungry lion who's trying to attack a pack of bulls. And he fights valiantly. He fights so bravely. He's saying, you killed my own. You killed my Muhammad. You killed my Qaseem. You killed my Ali Akbar. And you even killed my Ali Asghar. You killed and shredded the arms of my Abba. And he went on. He started fighting and killing the enemy one after the other. And at one point, he put down his sword, he lowered his sword, and they all started attacking from all sides because they could not take him from the front. They all started attacking with arrows, with swords and spears. And if they had nothing, they were throwing stones on Hussein. And Hussein fell down from his horse. And then somebody sat on his chest and severed the head of Hussein al-Islam while his sisters were watching from behind. His sisters were watching from behind and they saw their brother being slaughtered in front of all the people and nobody raised a jew or a cry. Nobody raised a voice. Hussain al-Islam was killed and everybody was watching and nobody said anything. Allah rahmatullah ala qawmi zalimeen wa sayyalamul lazina zalamu ayyamun qalbin yanqalibun. May Allah accept this little effort that we have made in the remembrance of the Ahlul Bayt alayhi salam. Give us the tawfiq to find out the right path and to follow the right path, to practice it properly. All of us may Allah give us the impetus to be encouraged in finding out more about the Ahlul Bayt alayhi salam. Because the more we find about the Ahlul Bayt, the more we learn about it, the more we will love them. The more we will love them, the more we will follow their path. That is what my dua is, that all of us who are on the path of the Ahlul Bayt learn more about the Ahlul Bayt and love them more so that we can follow them more. And the people who are not following the Ahlul Bayt of Islam, may Allah give them the tawfiq to learn about them and to try and follow them. May Allah give you all the reward for attending all the majalis, inshallah ta'ala, And may Allah forgive my mistakes that I might have made here. ربنا تقبل منا إنك أنت السميع العليم. اللهم صل على محمد وعلى آل محمد.